So today we're diving into the essentials of company rollups. Now look, we've done it at this point almost $1 billion worth of transactions in acquisitions.com, and today I want to share with you some of the steps that involve to get this process of rollups done. If you want to lead one or join one with your company, and I'll try to simplify some of this super complex terms along the way. Like maybe you didn't hear about some of those things, maybe you don't even know what a rollup is. So we'll get to it, right? Starting with step number 1, which is identifying the merger partner for your rollup, right? So first of a rollup, what does it even mean, right? A rollup means in simple terms, it's when a company or a new entity, let's say you create a new company and it buys few other companies, usually in the same industry, in order to consolidate them into kind of like one single larger company. Now, we do that because it can lead to bigger market share. Overall, you can reduce costs by doing that for each of those companies. And you can create what we call like a stronger moat or uniqueness in the market. So in order to start the process, we need to identify firms interested in merging and joining this group, right? Now, later I'll get to what each of the companies is getting in order to want to join to the group. But for us, for example, in order to find those companies, we do outreach campaigns. We also do, obviously, we have our network that we built over the years. And now we also have our acquisitions advisors, right, that are out there looking for deals and want to get commissions for finding deals to our rollups. Now, a good example to explain to you what we try to do is, I think the best way to explain a rollup is like, imagine you own, let's say, a bakery business, right? And let's say there are other bakeries in the town, and you go out there and you meet all the other bakeries and you discuss with them some kind of a vision. You create a large vision and you tell them, I want to create the biggest bakery chain in the region and I want to dominate the bakery space around the world. So it's creating a large vision that allows a lot of people to have their vision align with yours. Because if your vision is not big enough, they're probably not going to join you, or you're going to find too much of small companies that are not excited to be part of something that isn't big. So this initial step it's crucial, right? You need to set the stage. It's about getting to a point where you're sharing your goals, and then you're seeing who's on the same page for this potential merger or roll-up, and you combine those future partners of yours into a group. And obviously the vision need to be aligned. So if one company want to exit, let's say, as soon as possible and run away, and they don't want to be involved in the business at all. So let's say one company owner is like that, and the other owners are like, hey, we want to sell, but we're not attached if it's going to happen in the next month, year, or 3. We want to make sure the business is successful. Obviously, it's not going to be aligned because this guy vision is not like those guys. Those guys understand it's a long-term play, that even the future buyer will want to make sure that there's a smooth transition. He will want to make sure that there's some kind of collaboration also between the owners, ideally. Well, this person just want to get the cash and run away. So there's an alignment in vision, which is going to create a lot of challenges. Assuming we have those things aligned, we move to the next step, which is creating finding some kind of what we call a preliminary valuation. So this is step 2. It's where we go out there to those companies and we request financials from them. So we go out to them and we basically ask for their financial statements, like if you know, like income statement or balance sheets or cash flow statements, right? And ideally all of them, and ideally you get at least the last 3 years, so you have enough data to look at. And the reason you do that is because you want to create some kind of a initial valuation for each of those companies. So think of it as, if you go back to the bakery example, it's you go to each bakery and you evaluate what each bakery is worth based on their earnings, their assets, their debts, and it helps to understand and how much the combined entity, when you're going to bring everyone together, how much would that be valued at, right? And it will also help us, when we see the numbers, will help us guide negotiations with each of those bakeries, right? So we need those financials. which moves us to step number 3, right? At this point, we probably want to do something that's called quality of earnings reports. So this step number 3, it involves probably using a firm or an internal team that can perform a quality of earnings or QoE report for each of those companies. And it might sound overwhelming or fancy if you never heard about that, but it's essentially just a deep dive into the financial health of each company behind just the surface level numbers, right? So you want to get to a point where you're checking the quality of earnings by verifying, for example, first of all, how sustainable the financials are, and then also how accurate the financials are. Because you want to ensure that there are no surprises after you create the merger. And trust me, I've seen some fun stuff when it comes to financials in small businesses, like anywhere from people that tell me that they have extra million in cash under their table that they just don't want to report, right? They want to pay less in taxes, and other crazy stories like that that just are not aligned with what we see in the actual statutory, like official accounts of that business or whatever is reported that they pay in taxes. So we need to make sure we do those checks. It's kind of like trust but verify, right? So we move now to step number 4, which is after we've done those initial steps, it's time to draft the merger agreement or roll-up agreement. And that's where we get things, that's when things get official. So we bring in a legal counsel. So we hire a lawyer or use an internal legal firm that have an understanding in this and specialize in mergers and acquisitions. So they will draft this merger agreement, which is basically just a detailed document to outline the terms of the merger, including the financial arrangements with each company, how the merger will proceed, and any condition that must be met or agreed with each of those companies. Now, this step is crucial to make sure everything is legally sound and everything is agreed upon all parties. So step number 5 is establishing probably some kind of a board and operating model, right? So after we have all the legalities, step 5 is about setting up this new leadership structure for the roll-up. Things like establishing a board and some kind of a post-merger operating model. So basically, it's about deciding who will lead this new combined entity and how we're going to operate it, right? So for example, are we going to have a single CEO on top of all those companies? We're going to decide on how decisions will be made, what kind of integrations are going to happen or not. So these steps ensures to make sure that the merged entity is ready to kind of hit the ground running with some kind of clear governance structure and also some kind of operational strategy to make sure that we know what we do with the companies to prepare them towards continued growth or towards the upcoming exit in the next few months or few years, back to our vision, right? Depends on the vision that we have. Which leads me to step number 6, which is all about executing the merger agreement. So step number 6, in this moment, that's where the merger agreement, that's where we actually get it executed. So we get all the parties to sign off the agreement, of course, to make the merger, the roll-up official. And at this point, it's a bit like, like a marriage ceremony at this point almost. And once that's done, that's where obviously the real work starts, right? Where we work with the companies throughout the process that we discussed in the previous step. So we go through the process of integrating their operations. Again, if that's what discussed, because there's a few ways to do it. There's ways to keep them separate, there's ways to integrate them. It's all based on what discussed in the vision. That's where we integrate operations, potentially combining team, and overall just executing the shared vision that we discussed in step number 1, right? The vision. And yeah, just on this step alone, we could probably have 100 more videos just on those steps, because there's a lot involved, and probably a few more steps on how we then exit the group, right? If it's a trade buyer or a bigger company or an IPO, which is probably another topic for another video, which let me know in the comments if you want me to go through that. So there you have it. This is the journey of rolling up companies in a nutshell. From identifying potential partners to officially merging everyone together. Every step is crucial in ensuring the merger is successful, beneficial, and legally sound. There are probably a few more steps that I skipped just to keep the topic simple for you guys. So yeah, I hope this video helps with just overall understanding the process, and it just made it easier to understand. If you have any questions, if you want to join one of our existing rollups, or maybe lead one with your existing company, or just in general, if you don't have a company and want to lead one maybe, or build momentum one as an advisor, then reach out to us and we'll make it happen. So yeah, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm doing. I love you. Bye bye.